Joe, I have to talk to you about content marketing because you are a consummate content marketer. You've been doing this for a number of years, of course, working with television, with film, producing content, long form, short form, writing, you name it. You've done this all over the world for many different companies. So I need to talk to you
Okay.
about content marketing. And I'm going to kick off by just saying, well, can you just give us a definition of what is content
Well,
marketing?
that little introduction makes it sound like Jack of all trades, master of none, which is actually probably two, but I've got quite a broad knowledge of content. Content marketing, it's a really, really big subject. And the best way of thinking about it is the frequent publication of something that's either written, spoken, or visual in order to increase awareness in the hope that through that awareness, people are actually going to want to do business with you. It's as simple as that. And the important thing, it's organic and it's over a period of time.
Okay, right. Well, you've alluded there pretty much to what I was going
Right.
to ask you next, which was why? Why do we do it? You've got one reference there about engaging your audience, but is there a typical reason why people do actually do content marketing? Why is it so popular?
One of the reasons people do it is it's affordable because they don't have to do any paid advertising, and then they think, well, I can do it myself because everybody nowadays is a video maker, is a designer, is a writer, and they're all the tools to do it. So if you can do it and you're starting off in the business, why not do it? But the other important thing is it actually delivers results. But the important thing, it may not deliver results immediately. It could take 3 months, 6 months, it could take a year. And so what's really important is about that consistency. And people do it because it basically delivers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but the thing I'm going to ask you here, because I'm always the stats man, so I'm going to reverse roles
Okay,
today and say, have you got any actual juicy stats though about what people are doing out there
juicy
in terms of
stats.
content marketing
Yes, I
correctly?
do have some juicy
Yeah, yeah.
stats. The research, that's broad umbrella term research, says that about 83% of companies use content marketing because it's very good for demand generation. So they know they're going to get inquiries
Yeah.
from it. There's another really important one, which is 63% swear by it because it's very good for brand loyalty. It actually customer attention. So that if you're out of sight, out of mind, if you're publishing frequently, you may not be doing business with that person all the time, but it's suddenly a little bit of a tap on the shoulder. And then the final stat, as we like to do, talk about things in threes, is that up to 80% of small businesses produce the content themselves. So there's some numbers, some metrics for you.
Well, that's going to keep me happy for the rest of the day. But I mean, that last one is most important, I think. You said, I mean, effectively 4 out of
Yeah.
5 small businesses then producing their own content. But I mean, how do that, getting into the how here, how do they know what the type of content they should be producing and where it should go? I mean, how do you
That's a very
start
good
with that?
question. A bonus statistic for you. Up to 61% of companies are focusing on producing video. And so
Okay.
the idea is, well, not necessarily that you should be producing video. You actually need to think about who your audience is, what sort of content is going to resonate with them. But then you also have to think about the skills and resources for yourself. So it's all very saying, well, we're going to produce lots of video. Do you know how to make videos? Do you know how to edit them? Do you know how to lay down the music? And so it's actually horses for courses. It's about knowing your audience and actually thinking about what you can actually produce. But the really important thing about it as well, as you and I always talked about, is consistency and frequency. So
Yes.
once you start producing content, you've got to do it on a regular basis. Otherwise, it'll just fall flat.
Mm, mm. Yeah, exactly. And I think then the $1 million question with that as well, as you say, you're consistent, but how long does it need to be out there? How do you know if it's actually working? I mean, measuring this and the timelines, because that's the thing people always ask us, isn't it? If I start producing content, this type of content, it may be three different types of content, but
Well, it
are you
comes
actually going
it
to see
comes
the
back to
results?
a lot of what we talk about is about measuring it. And what's fantastic
Yeah.
now on all these different platforms, you can actually measure how well your content is working. Okay, you're going to get
Mm.
likes. Everybody likes everything, but are people reposting? Are they putting comments down? Are they actually getting in touch with you? So you probably need to work out what your metrics are going to be in order to determine what how you actually define, yes, I'm starting to get results from doing this. And you, by measuring things and reviewing it regularly, you start to see whether that type of post works well or that one doesn't particularly work well, and you start to get a feel for it. But it's only by doing it regularly and consistently and measuring it that you start to see whether it works or not.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, actually, I mean, just finally as well, it makes me think about something that we cover in Gateway courses, which is about you have that model, don't you? That little model about your content marketing interplay, and I think that's an
Yeah,
important
that
aspect
is.
for anybody
That's sort
starting.
of quite a theoretical thing that I came up with, and very basically, if you're going into content marketing, you need to think about the content you're going to produce, the channels you're going to produce it across, the skills you need to produce that content, and the resources to do it. Are they in-house or are they external? And then in the middle are all the different tools and technologies you use. And so, very simply, the more channels you populate, the more content you're going to need. So sometimes we say to people starting out, just focus on one channel and one type of content, but do it really, really well. Because you also have this trade off between, at the moment, quality and quantity. Masses and masses of content out there, but how good is the quality? Which then raises that other really interesting point. With all the rubbish content out there, it sometimes does incredibly well. So it's very, very confusing, content marketing.
It is, as you say, and there are so many different aspects of it, which is why well, it's why we cover it, it's why we talk about it, and there are so many other aspects which we can explore and probably will, I expect, in other videos as well, and of course on the
Yeah,
course
but
as
there's also
well.
the thing that what we're doing at the moment, this is our type of content marketing. We're doing long form discussion video content. Two English guys chatting away about marketing, branding, all of those sort of things. And it's about 9 minutes, and you can watch it whenever you want, or you can cut off or whatever. That's what we're doing. We're not doing short, trendy little pieces. We're not necessarily doing podcasts. Mind you, could say this is a kind of video podcast. And so it's just easy and it's effective way for us to do it. And so I think organizations, whether you're small or large, you have to find out what works for you. And I think the whole professional thing at the moment has gone a little bit out of the window because, as I said earlier, so many people can produce the content themselves. I've actually got
Mm.
quite
Yeah, exactly.
a good little story about somebody I know who's got a 3D printing business and has been producing little videos, and he's recently gone from around a few hundred on this is on Instagram to 7,000. And when I last looked, well, this morning it was 7,500. And something has happened which has suddenly spiked it, and that's consistently producing these videos to a very niche market.
Mm, yeah.
It's
Well,
called the
but I mean that, but
Generative
that's
Machine
fascinating as
Company,
well.
actually, if you want to look at it.
Generative
Yeah.
machine company. Great. Okay. Well, that's a great example actually. But even in that example as well, it's then interesting to dig into that and, as you say, understand what does good look like. That sounds very good. Absolutely, on the surface of things, it's fantastic. But it's also looking at to your context, isn't it, and understanding amongst your audience, you've increased
Yeah.
your followers there and the watching of the videos, people viewers of the videos. But it's then digging into that, understanding. Okay, great. So what do we do with this? Is it going to continue going on to 14,000? And is that good for us, or how do we convert this as well into sales ROI? But that's a fantastic start, you
Yeah.
would say. But it's really interesting to dig into it in more
But
detail.
what's, I mean, just sort of wrapping it up now, I'm just going to ask you a question, a curveball question. In terms of
Go
content,
on.
what's the most important thing for you when you're watching content?
Hmm. Straight away, I think it has to hook me in quite early on. I mean, if I'm not interested in it, then I won't carry on watching it, no matter what it is and how long it is. So I think that initial capturing of interest is really important. Of course, following through on that and saying, well, there's a meaning. It's going to emote me in some way. There's going to be some sort of emotion. It's going to
Good point.
entertain. It's
Yeah.
going to inform. It's going to inspire me. But then what? It's going to inspire me to do what? Go out and buy a chocolate bar. It's going to inspire me to follow this person and hear more. It's going to get me to share it. It's all of that. That it really, again, as you said, horses for courses. But for me, I mean, I've got different tastes to you and to anybody else, I suppose. Something that's going to hook me in to begin with is important. But that comes back to knowing your customer, and that's why it's so important. So someone who knows me well, knows what's going to hook me in well, and they've tested it as well with people like
It's
me.
a huge topic, and I think we will slice and dice it over the next few months, I'm sure.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Joe. That was great. Good discussion.